We have our scheduled test days this weekend at Orlando Speed World for Fortunato to come down and help us dial in the cars. So myself, Nate, and Josh McGuire are out there more or less just kind of get our bases done, get into the groove of driving, because it's been at this point about 5 months or so since I've actually been behind a car driving. So I'm just kind of getting back in the groove and getting used to the controls and just being behind the wheel again. We have 2 days reserved just for us at the track to just go drive the cars, get the suspension dialed in, get the grip where we want it, and to just kind of get into the swing of things from being in the off season for a few months.
Once the car was done with the dyno, I was able to almost just put all of that behind me and then focus on driving. And that's what I really love to do. If the car's there, I'm there, let's go, let's do it, you know what I mean? So going into testing was a really hard-working winter with a huge unsettling feeling about 2015, and I'm ready to drive the shit out of this car. And that's what my passion is like, I want to drive the car. That's what I love.
For the most part, we knew we were kind of going to go take the cars just kind of bare skeleton to go test, so we can kind of keep an eye on things to make sure if there's any kind of fluid leaks, any kind of lines spraying or anything like that, we would see it earlier rather than later.
So Enjuku's been helping us for a couple years on our program now. We also hooked up with Fortunato this season for our suspension and coilover setups. So we got an invite from Enjuku and Fortune to come out and do some testing here in Orlando.
It's awesome to have all three of us there working together and driving together to get some laps together, and then be able to dial in the cars and all together learn and make adjustments with each other to progress and get the cars dialed in to where we all want it.
The car going into testing was already such a great package. I was just almost instantly comfortable. I mean, I had issues with my steering. I felt a little bit tight. That was really my only complaints, but as far as the weight transferring and as far as the line and as far as the power and as far as the cooling, the car did great. The best part about our program is when you get the entire team together, it's a full package. I mean, we got Bub and Ant overseeing motor and chassis, and then we had Rich come out, who is our spotter. And then we had Matt from Fortunato, who's our suspension engineer. And Dirty Dave started lending a hand and having Dad out there, having Adam out there. It was a full package. And when you get all those guys together, me and Kevin are really just able to drive the car, talk to Matt about how we feel, talk to Ann about how the motor's running, and it's a lot less weight on our shoulders.
Day one, we basically had an out-of-the-box setup. Matt started us at a center line and had us go drive. And then we pretty much played with dampening and rebound and our compressions and getting the car really, really dialed in.
I did about 2 or 3 sets of tires, made some little adjustments here, little adjustments there, and realized that the spring I had in the rear was a bit too stiff for the initial setup and how I wanted the car to feel. So we made a spring change in the rear to drop the springs down a couple pounds, and that way the car would squat down more, load up the rear tires some more with some more grip, and be able to put the power down to the ground rather than just spin the tires up to the limiter of the gear. I go out for a few laps and the car's feeling solid. We got the cars dialed in, I got a bunch of grip in the car setup, and I'm stoked on the setup. The car sounds great, it's just all there and it's working right. So I'm stoked on the builds coming to the end. We did a few tandem runs, kind of concluded the first day on a good note with that without worrying about trying to get too close to the cars and having any kind of accidents or mistakes, and taking ourselves out for our following test day tomorrow. Bum, bum, bum. Which didn't matter anyway. I think I got 3 runs. I think 3 passes in, I think is what it was. The cars were running flawless, didn't have any issues. We made some changes in the suspension, got more grip dialed into the cars. At this point, I'm stoked, I'm ready, I'm amped, and the cars are feeling so good, I'm just ready to go drive the hell out of it. Shift 1, 2, get it into third, really hammer down to the gas at this point so I can huck it up against the wall, kind of do like a flick initiation like I like to at that track. As soon as I get the tire spinning in third is right when I feel it, and it kind of bucks real quick, once or twice, the motor itself. Before I can even get out of the gas, I just feel pieces of the block and piston and rod just kind of dropped out from the bottom of the engine and are just clanking around underneath the car as they're pretty much rolling over the stuff. I knew I'd tossed a rod or something in the motor would fail, and it was just kind of said and done. At that point, can just see a window in the block.
Knock, knock. It's a little warm.
And knew that my day was done for testing today.
Testing alone and then testing in tandem, that is actually one of the things I struggled with. So for example, I had some issues entering into the bank. You know, it's just almost like a commitment thing. And then you put me and Josh together, and there's something that I love about competing that really pulls the commitment out of me. I like the aspect of put it on the wall, put it on his door, and go. And that's really what helps me drive better and push myself. And I really enjoy the competitive aspect of his sport.
Going against Nate, he's always been somebody that I've driven hard against. His car is gnarly. Did a few runs back to back, felt really comfortable in the car.
That thing really picks up speed and it holds the line just like we wanted it to. So there's really no room to give a gap, you know, whether it's testing or whether it's this or whether it's that. It's like my muscle memory and my driving style just needs to be consistent. So if I'm doing it for tandem or for fun or for competition, I just wanted to start getting in that groove. Motor-wise and mechanically, everything really held up really well, so huge thanks to Ant and Bub and Ken and everybody at Enjuku for really getting this car done and getting us out here and giving us the time and space to be able to go beat the shit out of these cars and put them up to the test and see how they hold up. Testing was the best day ever because the car stayed cool, the motor stayed together. I finally knew I could just drive the car now, and that is a great feeling. just naturally it unfolded like, you're building a car, I'm building a car, we're a team, and we should have matching cars. With that in mind, we were able to actually find a designer to help us put it onto a computer, to deliver it to a wrap company to actually create a real life wrap. Funny enough, like at that same exact time, Chase Warner was calling up to Enjuku Racing talking about designing stuff. Our GM, AK, handed him to us, and we started working with Chase Warner.
This year, Nate and I wanted something that's not super grabby as far as super detailed work and crazy attention. We wanted something more of an old 80s style, just simpler time, but less is more type feeling to it. So we kind of threw some ideas at Chase. Nate's was going to be blue for his standard color that he favorites. On being that I had the gold car last year, I love the way it came out, so I wanted to stick with the gold this year. So we knew that we were going to try and keep our traditional colors, as well as kind of work to get the vinyl and the liveries to match at the same time. After just kind of a couple little detail changes for some minor trimming colors and pieces, we had a finalized decision on it all, and that's when we made the trip over to Graphics Direct to talk to Ray and all the guys over there to show them the renderings of what we're gonna do and kind of make this come to life.
Basically, like working with Graphics Direct and them being so close and so local to Claremont, we're able to go over there, you know what I'm saying? And they print out samples and go, is this the color blue you want? Is this the color gold you want? And so that's also really awesome to confirm, you know what I mean? So that's a huge bonus and a huge plus, and huge thanks to Graphics Direct for that.
Yeah, we were already like running behind schedule, and then had the engine come apart that pushed us back even further, and then have them wrapped in about a week's time before we have to be leaving for FD Atlanta for our first round. At this point, we had realized that the rods we were running last season at the lower power levels we were at were last year at their maximum, and this year we were about 15% over their highest rated limit. So at this point, we get back and it's Tuesday, we've got the engine pulled out, and there's a hole straight through from one side to the other of the block. You can just see all the way through it. Number 3 rod had left the building and just made its way out on both sides of the block. We get the motor out, we start cleaning up the engine bay and working on other little pieces, parts of the car that need to get together. At this point, this is our week we had scheduled for the guys from Graphics Direct to come out to wrap our cars. Mike and Eric were out, and they were coming to work around us while we're finishing up the cars to work on vinyl wrapping our cars with our livery. Not a lot of the rod manufacturers shelf the I-beam rods because they're usually built for the higher horsepower cars, 1,000 or so plus. We went and called an old friend from Brian Crower to see if they had any of their I-beam rods on the shelf that could get overnight to us. Luckily, they actually did have a set of the I-beams ready for us, and were able to overnight them to us. So Tuesday morning, we got them to the shop, and we're able to run them down to our machinists so they can actually finish building our spare engine while we're in the process of tearing out now our windowed block that's about good for a coffee table.
A lot of times with the racing and the scheduling, the timeline gets so short. You either got to really plan ahead, or you got to have some really cool people like Graphics Direct to come through. The car just really comes to life like right away after it's wrapped, and as drivers, you're just super hyped to get in them and drive them.
So at this point, as we're trying to pull things apart, trying to put the new engine back together while they're trying to wrap the car, as well as they're jumping between my car and Nate's car. And we're just kind of 360 working around all the cars because this is our final week to get the cars together and ready for FD Atlanta, which is the following week. Everything went so quick in those weeks. So once all the vinyl was done on the car and you're able to actually have all the panels in the car and step back and look at them, it's such an awesome feeling to see that, because you know it's a fresh build, it's a fresh car, and I'm about to go drive it and ruin it.
And I think that when you see the cars completed and done, I think you definitely are able to see Nate Hamilton and you're able to see Kevin Lawrence. You see the gold, you see the blue, you know, you're able to really notice that we're a team. And that's nice because it helps us grow and it helps us be a team even more. And we're able to just work together.
You know, once the cars were done, it was cool to just kind of step back and admire everyone's crazy long hours of just fabricating parts to the car, just hours spent painting the cars, just tedious little things that got to get bolted and put together on the car. It's awesome to see it all come together and finally done after spending, you know, 4 months of build time on this chassis.
When all this is said and done, for me personally, it's been a really, really cool experience. Being my first full winter at Enjuku Racing and really watching the cars come to life. That's a really cool experience to be living through and working with, and having a good crew and having an amazing shop to be in and having just the support and where our program is as this build series ends. It's been a damn good time so far. We're building new shit. We're not gonna stop. There's gonna be no real off season for me and Kevin. We're finally finalizing the cars throughout the Formula Drift season and everything coming together. So it's been a damn good time for me. This dude. So yeah,